The shift, take one.
Hey! All right, so we are here at Rendezvous. I'm joined by Jamie, of course, who's been very, very busy this week. We're going to get into that, the draft, all of that, your career, just exactly what you stand for, and just how much you mean to hockey when it comes to the landscape of Canada. But first, we're going to get to some pickleball.
Let's go.
Because I hear you really enjoy pickleball.
I do. It's kind of a new thing this summer, but I think it's kind of really been a huge sport building.
Are
So
you
we'll
good
see.
at pickleball?
Not good. I haven't quite mastered the touch of the ball yet, but I think it'll come. So maybe we'll see how it goes.
I know nothing about pickleball, so here's an opportunity for you to look really, really good at this sport, even though you look good at probably every other sport that you've probably done. So let's go over to the court right here, and let's go. You like have leagues that you join?
No, but
yet?
maybe we should start one. I feel like that's
start a league.
There is a pro league, so maybe that'll be my post-playing career.
Is there any other sport that you play just for fun?
Spike ball, does that count?
Yeah. Okay, is it live now?
Yeah, live.
Okay. Listen, if I get you injured, did she sign a waiver?
Oh!
Oh! We got it.
I was a basketball player in high school, but
What was your position?
point guard. But I couldn't really shoot, so I just would like run around as fast as I could.
You know what? A coach would love you because you don't make the game about you. Because you watch today's NBA.
So I would just like shoot and run for my rebound and try my hardest, but I wasn't very good at it, that's for sure.
Who introduced you to sports?
My dad, like he played hockey, so that was kind of how I got into hockey. My mom was actually a competitive swimmer.
Really?
So she wanted me to swim.
When did you break her heart?
When I was probably like 10 or 11 and only wanted to skate on frozen water.
How is that conversation?
I think she was fine with it, but she doesn't know a lot about hockey, but she supports me all the way, so, but it's good.
What's the best thing you learned from your mom's swimming influence?
I don't know. Probably not how to drown as a kid at the cottage. I don't know.
Don't die.
Yeah. But actually, I think like, because I ripped through the levels, and I think it really was a good skill for me to have as a kid. And I grew up with a cottage, so being around the water and stuff was a good skill to have for sure.
Woo!
I'm sweating.
Jeez. At what point do you think, as an athlete, you have to know yourself, and when did that come to you about figuring out who you were, how you fit, and how you were ready to contribute to a team?
Ooh. I was probably like at least 3 or 4 years out of college, and I was probably like 23, 24. I mean, growing up, like in high school and college, you're kind of like more of a big fish, I would say. Like and you got to learn how to fit into a team. You're not always going to be, and then as soon as you go into pro or the next level, like you got to find a way to stay there, right? So I think it took me a bit to kind of round out my game, if that makes sense, and like figure out where I fit. But I don't know, it took a while, and I think that's one thing that I would tell my younger self is trust the process in that. Like it's not always pretty and it's not always smooth, but I think it's, you know, once you figure out what works for you, then run with it, right? And I think a lot of girls will tell you, especially at the national team level, like you're playing with the best players in the world, you got to find a way to stay and fit, right? So
Who was the first person that humbled you?
probably my first year in the CWHL when I graduated.
Yeah.
We played Boston. It was like most of the U.S. national team, and we lost 2 games back to back. It was 11-3 and 7-1.
Oh, geez.
And it wasn't good. So that was probably my first moment where I was like, no, you gotta be good to win in this league. So
Who was one teammate you could think of when I say they taught you the most?
one that sticks out to me is Brianne Jenner. So I've been fortunate to be friends with Brianne since she was 16. We kind of played against each other in college as well. But the last 5 or 6 years, we've kind of become training partners. And she taught me, how to, I've always worked hard and always put a lot into my craft. But she taught me how to do everything with intent and how to be a pro and attention to detail even more than I already was. And I think I've really taken that to heart over the years. And I don't even know if she knows that she's done that for me, but we're kind of the best match in terms of like in the gym and stuff. We always kind of want to be paired up with each other because we approach the game the same way. And I think anyone that knows Jenner knows how professional she is and how she approaches the game. And that's someone that even though we're around the same age, someone that I look up to and always lean on. So.
Is there someone now that you have the opportunity to mix and mingle on a more consistent basis with players internationally that you're like, I want to connect with that person?
Oh.
You have a couple of new teammates.
Yeah. I mean, someone like Hillary Knight sticks out. Like, I think it's pretty hard to ignore what she's done on the international stage. And I've played against her all the years, and I'd rather be on her team, I think. Someone like her I'm really excited to play with.
Yeah.
Someone like Megan Keller, who, again, an American, but I respect her in terms of what she brings to the game. And then, I mean, someone like Marie-Philippe Poulin, I'm around on a daily basis, who you just respect on such a high level. And, you know, she's the ultimate leader, the ultimate human being, and someone that I can't believe that I still get to play alongside sometimes. So, but
did you know that Barbie of the Year for 2023 is women in sports?
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. If we were to make you a Barbie, hypothetically, brand marketing right here, what would be the first thing that you'd want on that Barbie that represents you best?
Maybe like an Ottawa jersey, somewhere where I grew up, or even a Clarkson jersey where I went to school. I think that, you know, I grew up a lot at school and learned a lot of things, so maybe something like that.
Safe space here. Answer freely. We still kind of getting over that you're not going to Ottawa?
Yeah, for sure. I think Boston's a great city. I really love the staff there, and got some familiarity with Courtney Kessel. I was her teammate at one point, and I just have a lot of faith in her leadership, and then can't really go wrong with a great city like Boston either. So
listen, it would have been a great story. You're starting a new chapter. One thing I would love for you to maybe dispel for me, because it's a massive myth, and you know this among sports fans, that Ottawa fans, especially hockey fans, are the worst. True or false?
False. They're great.
Yeah?
Like some of the playoff runs they had back in the day when Carlson was there and Alfie, and growing up, like watching them play the Battle of Ontario with Matt Sundin, and it's a great city. I mean, growing up in Ottawa, like I think about how many rinks there were around. There was like 8 rinks and hockey everywhere, and now in Toronto it's very similar, but more.
Ice time. None.
Yeah, I don't know. I think just enjoy it. Like, you know, the fact that I get to play hockey for a living is very fun and cool, and I'm not going to be able to do it forever. So I always told myself I'd do it until someone tells me no. So that's what I'm probably still going to do.
With the 3rd pick in the 3rd round of the inaugural PWHL draft, Boston selects Jamie Lee Rattray.
So let's go back to the draft. We think about the moment, the cameras, the questions, the red carpet, the backdrop, and it just is like, wow, this like one moment. But there's so many conversations. There's so many things that happen behind the scenes. Yeah. So truly, what was it like for you to see it all come together and lead into a great future?
When are you ever going to see the best players in the world thrown in basically a pot and said, okay, let's build full teams, right? We're so used to seeing a draft where it's like picking prospects and how to help your team. Mm-hmm. At that point, we had no teams. So, you know, we had 3 players on each team, and you try to build around that, but you literally have to pick every position, with the best players in the world. It's something that'll never happen again, and something that's really cool and nerve-wracking as a player, but also exciting. I think you go through all the emotions. It was a really cool day.
Was there a conversation that happened that day that stands out to you?
Yeah, I think just conversation with Danielle, I think that one really hit me, and just, you know, the fact that, you know, she wanted me to be in Boston and help build a really cool team. And then also one that really sticks out with me, Hillary Knight called me right after the draft, and obviously playing against her all of the years, and like I've got to know Knighter a bit over the years, but that's, you know, one person that, you know, you feel really welcome, because I think, you know, she's already, you know, she's signed on the team, and then for her to be really excited for you to be there, I think is something really special.
You know, when we think about Boston and the home that you're hoping to build there, there's so much history that resides within Boston, but mainly on the men's professional side. Yeah. But I would imagine that there's still going to be high expectations when you come to play in that city. Yeah. Does that add a level of pressure for you?
I mean, I think there's always pressure, I think, on a lot of us to make this league what we want it to be. Like, but I think we're heading in the right direction. And, you know, I think of Boston, it's going to be such a cool sports city and culture to be a part of. And I'm a huge sports nerd, so I love that stuff and all the all the things. So, but I'm excited.
In a way, did playing for Canada prepare you for a level of pressure like this? So I don't think people talk about that pressure that exists within the game for you all.
Yeah.
We kind of just have this expectation, they're going to be great, it's going to be awesome, but there has to be a level of work that keeps that consistency up.
To be honest, like, to put on that jersey has always been a dream, and every single time I get to do it, it's something really special. And that's one thing I never want to forget is that feeling you get when you do put that jersey on. So someone like Gina Kingsbury has done a really good job of building a culture. I also think the players, like, I think, how we continue to pass on the culture, I think, is going to be really important over the years. You have someone, our leadership group is amazing. You look at, Poulin, Jenner, Renata Fast, Blair Turnbull, girls like that are going to help pass the torch. Yeah. I think that's really important. And the big thing for me now is when the young girls come to camp or come to the program, you want to make sure they feel welcome right away and they can be themselves. Right. And as a player, something that I've learned over the years, the more I can be myself is the better I'm going to perform, right? So that's kind of something we've been trying to do with the national team and Team Canada, and I think something that has really made our success over the last couple of years, so I think that's why we are so
right.
successful.
People always make excuses and say it's the results. Yeah. They can't have that excuse when it comes to the women's national team. Yeah. But we want to talk about advancing the game for women. Yeah. So where is that lack, do you think, when it comes to the level of support that needs to be had?
I think visibility. I think, the platforms that we're on. I think now with this new league, I think you're going to see a whole new level of that. Right. But I think about when I played in the CWHL, when I first came out of university, no one knew what that was, right?
I did, because I actually, fun fact, used to be a ringside reporter for the CWHL.
But I think about that's not a smaller town, but a community like Brampton where I used to play, people would be like, oh, there's a professional women's team here. No one really, right? But it's not really their fault. There's no visibility. There was no funding behind it to build it. And I think that's probably the number one. And then I think the more women you get in the game, and I think you've seen it, even in the NHL side, more women getting involved. And, as a young player growing up, I just had, my only goal was the national team, right? I only knew of Jana Hefford, Carol Millette, but now you're going to have, over 150, 200 players to look up to in different cities. It's going to make such a difference, I think. You see it at the Worlds and stuff like that, but now you can see it on a regular basis in a league and on TV and highlights and regular games. So I think it's going to be such a big difference.
I want to talk to you about social impact. When we look around women's professional sports overall, whether they want to or not, there's an added level of work in terms of representing so much more than just what it is to perform at such a high level. Yeah. Do you invite that? And what excites you about this platform and the ability to reach so many different audiences?
Yeah, I think I invite it. I think as I've kind of gotten older in my career, you realize that you can be a role model in these different situations. And I know how important it was for me as a kid, having role models and people to look up to. And I think it's kind of, the cool thing is about the PWHPA, we're this amazing group of women that kind of stuck together and through many years with patience, and we just kind of stuck with it. I think is so powerful. And I think that's one thing that I'll look back in my career and be really proud of is I got, was a part of that group that got to kind of build it to this point.
Right.
And you think of the big names like someone like Sarah Nurse, who's I've been fortunate to play with. She's done such a good job of pushing our sport forward in a lot of different ways, but I think we need people like that in our game to just continue and just not settle. I think that's the big thing as women. I think we're learning that we can't just settle for the bottom line. And I think that's something that we're going to now know with this league is that we don't have to.
Do you ever reflect on, and I know because you're still in it, you're still playing, we're not going to write your story as if it's over, but just the amount of doors that you've been able to open for those within the marginalized community, Indigenous players as well?
Yeah, I think it is cool. I think I've been fortunate enough to go on a lot of trips with First Assist, who they've done a lot of really great things in communities like that, especially in northern Alberta and things like that. And someone like Abby Rock, Victoria Bach, I've been fortunate enough to go with them and see these different communities. And I hope I'm making a good impact. I think my goal as a player and as an athlete is just to kind of leave the game better than I found it. And I hope that I'm leaving an impact kind of wherever I go, and a positive one. I hope. I think I think, but even my teammates, I hope that I'm leaving a good impact on them too as my career went on.
For all that you do and all that you advocate for, when you come to the table and are pushing for things that women rightfully deserve, what are your non-negotiables?
Yeah, so I think for us now it's professional environment, right? Like I think about, what the NHL guys get. They go to the rink, they don't have to think about anything, they just play hockey. And I think that's something that we're really fighting for now in this league. And now that, girls don't have to work part-time, they don't have to work full-time, our practices are going to be at a normal hour of the night. Like I think about when I first started playing, it was like 8:30, 9:30 at night. And you're leaving the house, it's like dark, it's winter, you're going to practice. And that affects, first of all, your performance, because I think that's a huge part of it, but also the commitment to some girls, right? Like how are they supposed to come at 9:30 at night and get up at 6 and go to work, right? So I just think that environment is something that for me as an athlete is really going to make a difference. And I just think of how good our game is now. Can you imagine how much better it is going to be with all the resources and things in place? And I think another big thing too is the coaching. I think now you're going to see just the game go. Now we can hire all the right people with the infrastructure, right? So I'm just really excited. I think this first year you're really going to see it, and I think hopefully I get a couple more years out of it as a pro, and just continue to push it forward. So then the girl that's graduating university doesn't have to think about it. She can just play hockey and not have to have a full-time job.
It shouldn't be a compromise. Lastly, for me, let's fast forward. Opening night, pucks are being dropped everywhere amongst the PWHL. Yeah. What are you hoping new audiences that say, finally, we'll see in terms of a level of hope for this game?
I think they're going to see a lot of really great hockey, but I also think they're going to see a product that we've had all along that just hasn't been seen. I think, you do see it, right? Yeah. Obviously at the biggest levels, but I think we're going to have a lot of new fans after this, and I don't know if surprise is the right word. I think I've had a lot of people come and say, oh, women's hockey is actually good, but I think we want to welcome those people and maybe those fans that didn't like or hadn't seen a women's hockey game before in a city like Boston, let's say. Now they come to a game and they love it and they buy season tickets and tell all their friends, right? So I just think you're going to see a lot of great things, and I honestly just so excited now that we kind of know what the teams look like. It's time to go.
Well, thank you for your time.
Thanks,
thank you for showing up as you, and thank you for teaching me how to lose in pickleball.
Yeah, thank you.